Royal Guard of Honor! Royal Salute! Precepts! Arms!
Choosing the armed forces as a career means you'll be asked to make decisions and communicate them quickly, clearly, and often loudly. It's not the obvious choice for someone with a stammer.
There was a big recruiting sergeant there who rightfully told me, "Wee man, you've got a stammer, you might never be promoted."
I felt very isolated, like it was something I had to deal with alone.
Now, forces personnel who stammer are going in front of the camera to reveal their experiences, to raise awareness and break down misconceptions about their condition.
There were plenty of people who are having full and fulfilling careers, despite having a stammer.
The moment you come out and start openly saying, "I am somebody who stammers," you are immediately reducing the stigma and the mystery that surrounds the condition.
I think you can find people who are very authentic and very capable communicators who are not 100% fluent, and that's absolutely fine.
Right, show me the fluid levels on this one, please.
1 in 100 people has a stammer. There are many myths about what causes the condition. Developmental and inherited factors may play a part, along with small differences in how efficiently the speech areas of the brain develop in childhood.
It's like there is something almost within my brain or within my throat, which is holding on to the words which I'm trying to say.
Inside your head, you're screaming the words that you want to say, and you just, it's almost like a panic.
Where your flow of speech stops, your flow of thoughts stop as well, so it becomes incredibly hard to effectively concentrate on what you're saying and the content of what you're saying at the same time as actually trying to say it.
When somebody finishes a sentence off for you, I find it really disrespectful, and it does make me quite annoyed at times, because of, if you've asked me a question and let me answer the question, don't answer it for me.
It's one of those natural abilities which you take for, which you almost take for granted really, but when you can't do it, and when especially if you get caught on something and you just can't say the most simple of words, it's unbelievably frustrating.
Despite the difficulties that having a stammer can bring, especially when working in intense and stressful situations, these servicemen made the choice to join up to the military. But how hard was it to take that step?
I was concerned with how to get through the door at the Armed Forces Careers Office, because it was like a push button and there was an intercom to speak to someone, so it was a challenge enough just to get in the door of the Careers Office, even before I've spoken to anyone about joining up.
When you look at a force such as the Army, which is full of all these tough roughies, I thought to myself, am I going to fit in here? I thought, a stammer, maybe it's not the job I want to do, maybe they won't accept me.
I was a bit concerned as to how, I suppose, seriously I would be taken going through Sandhurst, how my stammer would react to the pressure which I was placed under.
I did find it quite nerve-wracking, because I was the only one which had a stutter, and I had to get through that phase of wanting to keep quiet, purely because I didn't want to feel embarrassed. But then I was put in positions where I had to speak out.
I think I probably did come into the civil service with some concern that I might be wrongly construed, perhaps as not being capable of coherent thought, or perhaps being construed as being nervous. And I think that probably did concern me a lot, and therefore I was at great pains to try and hide it and to minimise it as far as I possibly could, which is of course the worst thing that you can possibly do.
For Corporal Howard Charlton, joining the Royal Air Force was not an easy process, and throughout his career, important parts of his role have proved difficult. Making phone calls and talking in group situations cause him great anxiety and stress.
What's the number? Face-to-face is not too bad because the other person can see that there's an issue. They can see that something's going on, and hopefully they can see that you have a stammer. But if it's on the telephone, it's absolutely horrendous because all they can hear is silence. They can't hear you at all, so they begin to ask if there's anyone there still, or and it's just really awkward because because you just can't talk. And there's been occasions early on when I first joined up that I'll just hang up the phone because there isn't anything else I can do. I can't talk, and so the person on the other end who I'm supposed to be talking to doesn't have any idea of what's going on.
With speech therapy, Howard has learned to cope with his stammer in a more confident way, but he has regrets over the effect it's had on his career.
I think it's got in the way as much as perhaps I haven't took opportunities than perhaps I could have done. I haven't perhaps done the courses that I would probably like to have done. I've not enjoyed the adventure training that perhaps I'd like to have done, and that's all been an effect of my stammer, because I find it particularly difficult in new environments, having to introduce myself to people that don't know me, and all sort of the stress that goes with that. So I guess it has held me back from maybe doing courses that perhaps I would have liked to have done, particularly to get advancement in the RAF.
Major Michael Boyd's career in the military police has gone from strength to strength, but with promotion comes more responsibility.
When was the last time the radios were all spun up to,
And a role that involves leadership, respect and clear direction.
When I had a bad day, and I knew I was having a bad day, I couldn't hide and not deliver the lessons of which I was rotated to go and do. I had to just fight my way through that and just accept that. I suppose the quality which I would have, the quality of teaching which I would have imparted, and the inval comments there afterwards would be probably were often pretty harsh, but it was just one of those things which I just had to deal with, and I felt it got better as time went on.
Standing in front of a group of new recruits giving commands can prove difficult for anyone, especially for someone with a stammer.
It probably comes as a bit of a surprise for them to, I suppose, just get used to the fact that the OC at times can be will struggle to speak the most simple of things.
For Corporal Dan Rudge, a career as a medic has involved moments of extreme stress. In 2013, he was mentioned in dispatches on his return from Afghanistan after giving life-saving aid to 4 men whilst under fierce enemy fire.
Unfortunately, a IED was detonated, which we sustained 3 casualties. Two of them had life-threatening injuries, which we treated, got them stabilised, and again we then evacuated them back to a helicopter extraction point.
Despite the risk of injury from incoming fire and the pressure he was under to save lives, his stammer completely disappeared.
I was so focused on my job of which I had to perform. The fact that I was more focused on, completing my job and giving clear instructions, and the fact that it didn't really show on me whatsoever. Also, I was with my unit which I transferred from to the medical corps, who had worked with me my whole career, so they were fully aware of my stammer, and they even said that it didn't even show up once.
I've looked over your paperwork and stuff. Is there any chance that you can, in your own words, just tell me what information you require from me, please?
For those who've chosen a military career, a stammer can cause extra anxiety in an already stressful working life.
There was a big recruiting sergeant there who rightfully told me, "Wee man, you've got a stammer. You might never be promoted and you might struggle to become an instructor." And I totally understood that, and it was a totally fair thing to actually say. However, I really wanted to join, and I thought, well, if you're telling me that I can't, I'll make it my mission to prove you wrong.
Going into the Black Watch as a young recruit, camaraderie and leadership had a positive influence on Captain Jimmy Lang by encouraging him to push himself to the limit and work his way up through the ranks. His message to others is that having a stammer should not hold you back.
The Army actually recognises an individual for their own skills, so even though I stammered, I could still be an effective soldier and an effective instructor. A person who stammers is a lot more than just his stammer, and I'm extremely proud of being a commissioned officer, because if you had asked me this same question 20 years back, where do you see yourself in 20 years' time, I would have had absolutely no idea at all. People are saying, yeah, but you've done this and you've been promoted. What's the issue? And I say, well, there isn't any issue, but I do actually have an internal battle every single day.
Despite the fact that Jimmy deals with the condition in a positive way, raising awareness of stammering in the armed forces remains extremely important to him. So, in 2014, he worked alongside Walter Scott and Corporal Emmanuel Oti to create a defence stammering network.
We were very aware that there were low levels of awareness and understanding about what stammering is, about what causes it, about the challenges that people who stammer go through on a job.
In the past, it was like, oh, stammering, what do we do with that? Oh, I don't really know how to deal with somebody. But now, people are starting to speak up about it. They're starting to become more slightly open, and that's all down to leadership.
We wanted to pool our experience and our energy to create a team that could therefore go out and raise awareness and educate and talk at events and conferences. Every time one of our network members comes out and talks openly, that is taking one important step towards tackling the stigma and straightening people's understanding about what stammering is.
We've got very high ranks in a group up to Brigadier. We've been taken seriously.
A particularly exciting development was last year when we were contacted by some members of the Hurricane forces who were just curious to see why we had set up the Defence Stammering Network and how we had made it happen. And there is now an active US military stuttering support network, and that is quite an exciting development for us.
The real power of it comes from its members. It really comes from the passion and the experience of those who make up the network. I'm part of that community, and I'll do what I can to assist and nudge it along and try and make the organisation more effective for its members and also for the Ministry of Defence and the Armed Forces.
Although awareness across the armed forces and society as a whole is growing, there is still a lot more that needs to be done.
I think the most important thing that will help is for new recruits going through their initial training, just to have the support as soon as they join up. I think that's important. I think if I'd had that when I first joined up, just to have that support all the way through my career, I think that would have helped me a lot.
I think just a general growth in the awareness of what a stammer is, and a recognition of what it is as a genuine affliction or disability.
Everyone with a stammer finds their own way of coping with the brain's reluctance to let them speak, and there's no single method or cure that can magically make it disappear.
Everybody who stammers is an individual who stammers completely differently. Stammering is totally erratic. Sometimes you can speak pretty fluently, sometimes you can't, and it just hits you, but nobody truly understands that.
When I first joined the army, my stammer was a lot worse than what it is now. And I've been put in positions of teaching. I've taught abroad to different militaries, and that has really helped me in learning to control my stammer.
I think over the last couple of years, the focus in issues such as diversity and inclusion, that's sort of it's kind of helped people understand the differences in people and to have more tolerance of people's differences.
The message from servicemen sharing their experiences is that stammering is a part of their life and one which never goes away. So all they ask is that people understand this and give them time to finish what they have to say.
The fact that I've managed to get to command a company and I'm still going within this career, I think if an example needed to be shown to others, I would hope that maybe I could be one, maybe.
Being able to communicate is an important part of service life. But you can be a very effective communicator, but not be entirely fluent in your speech. And my experience is that the armed forces are very much a meritocracy. And if you're able to do your job, if you're able to do your operational job, then there really are no bars to being successful.
Stammering should never hold anybody back. So just have confidence in our own abilities. The army is more than about talking. It's a lot more. So it should never hold anybody back.
For those who stammer, talking in public is not something that comes naturally. But these servicemen have learned it's vital to speak up anyway and want others to do the same.
I'll always remember what my father said to me. He says, "Jimmy, I didn't think you were going to start speaking on it," because I really hesitated. That first question, I was just like, what do I say, what do I say?
There is still a lot of work to be done to get the message out there that it is okay to stammer, and that stammering does not result from a nervous character, and that it is possible to do your job really quite successfully with a stammer.
There's still a lot of people there who don't know a bit about us, but maybe that's because this conspiracy of silence is still there, and people are still slightly worried. Should I speak to him about it? Should I not? The best thing to do is to speak to somebody, but make sure that that person's ready to speak.
As I've got older as well, I've realised that, you know, my stammer isn't an issue for me now. I've lived with it my whole life, so it's always been there. So I've now reached a point on where I'm comfortable with the fact that, you know, I've got a stammer, and if other people aren't, then that's their problem.
Although it's awkward, it's horrible, it's not a nice feeling. You know, you can still get your point over, and you know, I think since I've been doing some therapy, I sort of acknowledged the fact that stammering's okay. It's okay to stammer. It's just part of who I am, and if it takes a bit longer to say what I want to say, then that's okay.